Hi, Backman Lions. It's Miss Bell in the library. I wanted to show you a few tools about Sora and how you can make it easier to read books on your computer or your tablet. So, normally, when you open up Sora, it's on this kind of binocular screen down here, which is the Explore screen, and that's where we did the search for a book. But once you have a book checked out, it will appear in the circle down here if you've started reading it, and you can also get to it from your bookshelf. So I click that, and I can open my book, and here's how it appears if I haven't turned any of the pages. You'll see that the cover, which has the title and the author and a picture to try to make you want to pick up the book, right? When I click on the right-hand side of the page, it's going to scroll from one page to the next. This is the title page. Again, it has the title, the author, an illustrator. A title page also has the publisher, which is the company that makes the book. When I click again, here's more publishing information. It just tells me like the ISBN number of the book. It tells me when it came out. The copyright was 2018. How old the book is. Okay, so table of contents. This is the dedication, meaning like who they wrote the book for. Now we're finally on chapter 1. And so by default, this is what the book looks like. Default means the original way, the original settings. And this is the default on Sora. And so I don't really like this font. I just think it's kind of hard to read because it's just tiny on the page. So if I want to change the font, here's what I do. I take my mouse and I move it to the center of the page and I click the bottom center. And it's going to bring up the slider down here as a menu. And then over here on the top right, it brings up these other icons. When I click on these lines, and I can go down to reading settings, okay, reading settings. Here's where I can change the size, make it smaller or larger, and I can change the background, the color of the page, and I can also change the type of font that's used. So right now it's publisher's default. That's the word I was saying. I can change it to legible, scholar, paperback. Those are all good options. If I scroll down, I can also find a font that's called Open Dyslexic. If someone, if you have trouble with letters and sometimes people see letters in different ways, Open Dyslexic is a helpful setting. And I also want to mention you can change the space in between the lines. So like custom right here, when I click on that, there's more fonts and there's also this spacing in between the lines. So I can change it so that there's more space in between, right? And all of these things just make it easier for me to read my book. So I click done, right? See how right now it looks like a typical book, like there's two sides of a page. If I click this button, I can make it one column instead. That might be easier for you to read as well. Okay, it's up to you. These are all very personal decisions and settings that you have. So I want to mention a couple other tools really quick that I use. If I am reading and I'm not sure what a word means, okay, like budge, I put my mouse on top of the word and I'm going to use the left side of the mouse, like the left button under the mouse, and do a long click. So not a quick click, but long, like hold it down for like 2 seconds. And then this pops up. Define, highlight, and search. I can define that word if I'm not sure what it means, and it does it right there on the page. Okay. I can also highlight the word and write a note about it. And here's where I would, write something down. And I could also click on that word. And now it's just bringing up my note. Okay. Technology is fun. Okay, what I wanted to say is I could also click on that word and do a search for it anywhere else that word appears. Um, I can search this way, or I can just plug in on the search. Like, let's say there's a character I'm trying to track, and I'm like, oh, where else did I find about the grandmother, right? Where else did I see something written about grandmother? I can do a search this way as well. And it's going to pull up every time that word appears in the book, which is super helpful, especially like if you are reading a book that has a bunch of characters and you're trying to remember like when else you saw them in the book, that kind of thing. Okay. So all of those features are good. With the highlighting feature, a way that I used to have my kids use the highlighting or the note feature is sometimes I'd have them take what's called annotations or notes in the book about what they just read. So, like for instance, if you get to the end of chapter 1 and you just want to write yourself a note, like what happened in that chapter, you go to highlight, note, and you can just say, like, in chapter 1, the boy meets his grandmother for the first time. She, oops, she doesn't seem very nice. And you can kind of write yourself summaries that way as well. So all of these are just options. It's just things to make the reading experience easier. Okay, once you're done with the book for the day, you can just close the app. That's fine. But I wanted to show you one other thing. If I click close, takes me back to this page. By default, I have the book for 20 days, which is about 3 weeks. If I want the book longer, if I'm not quite done, I can click on options and renew the book when I get closer to my turn-in date. I can also return the book here. If you're not going to read the book, please return it, because if you have a copy, then that means that someone else cannot get the copy. Okay? There's only a certain number of digital copies available. And if you're trying to renew your book and it doesn't let you renew your book, it's because someone else is requesting your book. Someone else has placed a hold on the book and you cannot renew it. So please keep that in mind. Okay? So all of those things are helpful about Sora, and I'm also here to help you if there's any questions that you guys have, and hope you guys enjoy it, and happy reading.